Are you frustrated with online dating? Confused by all the new apps and fancy dating sites? Do you find yourself choosing the wrong person again and again? Well, studies show that hiring a dating coach can maximize your online dating experience. So no worries, I've got you. And I've created a virtual course called Doing Dating Right. It's a 5-video series that you can complete at your own pace in your own space, right at home. How to write your online dating bio, pick that perfect picture, and so much more. Want more info? Go to my website at jenniferhurwitz.com. Again, it's jenniferhurwitz.com. Good morning. Good morning. This is Doing Relationships Right. I'm Jennifer Hurwitz, and I'm your host every single Tuesday and every other Friday for a Just Jen episode. Oh, I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about this one because if you've listened to the show before, you know that I like to talk about money and my relationship with it because it's horrible. And I have a horrible relationship with money. So when we talk about money on the show, I get really excited because hopefully when I'm done with the episode, I go and I feel like I get a better karma with the money and whatever. And, who knows? But I have my guest today who I'm a little bit, I have to say, I've been stalking a little bit, Carrie, and I'm a little bit, you're a rock star. You're a rock star. Carie Casden is here today. She's a money coach and a business manager. I got that right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carrie, for being here. You have an amazing link. Your LinkedIn is amazing. Your website is amazing. I feel like I need you in my life because you handle women, finances, everything. Tell us, first of all, what you do, how you started, and then I have a bunch of questions for you.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Well, thank you.
I'm so excited to have you.
It's great to be here. So,
Yay.
and I do love to talk about this, and I feel we don't talk about it enough.
We don't.
Especially women. I think that we're so embarrassed and so ashamed and so undereducated in this topic. So we just avoid it. But it is the one topic that every single person has to deal with. That's the irony. I saw that Florida, while they passed some other laws that could be questionable, I think they just passed a law that there has to be financial literacy in the schools now.
Oh,
I think I saw that, which would be great.
That would be great.
Because I always say I'm still baffled why the schools are not teaching basic financial literacy, and we're spending so much time learning, calculus and trigonometry.
Yeah, I agree.
Very
I could have used that big time.
Yes. So, I've been doing business management for 25 years. And during that time, I really see how different people spend money and who's able to save money and who's constantly overspending. And I found it so fascinating. And so I took also my interest in psychology, and I went back several years ago and got certified as a money coach. So I could really understand people's relationship with money, their money patterns, their money archetypes, and how they affect their day-to-day financial decisions. And it is fascinating.
Yeah, I need you.
And I started working with, I don't like to say I just work with women because I work with women, men, families, children, young couples, people that are retiring. But, unfortunately, I still see more than not women who start a family and then they sort of go into autopilot with their kids and they abdicate their financial responsibilities. And then, stuff happens and maybe it works out and maybe it doesn't work out. Either way, they sort of let go of the reins of that. And they just become sort of a passenger instead of a driver of their financial life. And they don't always set the best examples for the next generation.
Right. And why do we do it's so crazy because that is exactly me. Well, my husband, I call him my husband.
Right.
He was, he is a CFO of a big bank. So I was like, oh, He'll take care of it. He'll do it. It's no problem. And then, 13 years later, I'm divorced and I'm like, what do you mean a checkbook?
Yeah, that's right.
Where is my bank card? Like, I had no idea.
Right.
Yeah, it was awful.
And when you
embarrassing.
think about just statistics, there's a 50% chance of getting a divorce.
Yes.
They always say, if you got into a car and I said there's a 50% chance you're going to crash, you would want to know how to use the seatbelt.
Oh,
you would want to know the safety features. So hopefully you never need them. Hopefully it all works out. And I'm okay if you want someone to do it for you. Just understand it.
Right.
And I think people think it's a lot more complicated than it has to be.
I agree.
They don't have to understand. I mean, sometimes, and listen, I'm in this world and I'll sit down with financial advisors and they're going over portfolios. And I mean, my eyes are sort of glossing over, oh, there's a large cap and a small cap, and we're going to allocate this. And,
I've noticed.
it sounds like the Charlie Brown teacher for a lot
Wah,
of
wah,
people.
wah, wah, wah. Yeah, exactly.
So
It
I like
does.
to keep it very simple. I like to keep people mindful. I feel the older I get, I think everybody wants to live a more authentic, purposeful, mindful existence. And money is a big piece of that in whatever capacity it is. So I just heard someone saying it really is so great. It says, you can tell me what your priorities are and what matters to you, but if I see your bank statement, I'll really know what matters to you.
Is that true?
Right?
That's so true. It's so true. You know, when they do it, like at Capital One or whatever bank, at the end they itemize everything and they give you that thing of the year, like
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yes.
I had no idea I spent that much at Starbucks, or I had
That's
no
right.
idea Nordstrom. Who knew? I mean, it sounds so obnoxious, but that's my problem. I think people don't even realize, and
They don't even
especially
realize.
they don't even realize, especially with like COVID now, and you just push the button and everything comes to your house, and Amazon shows up, and I know my
Oh,
best friend in the Brown, and hi UPS, and the box is stacking up.
I know.
It's my
I mean,
problem.
Amazon is, so for my clients, we categorize everything. And I would say that maybe 2 years ago, we really had to do a whole separate line item just for Amazon. Amazon and now Venmo, because so many people do
Yes.
so much with Amazon, Venmo, and iTunes.
Yeah, that's me.
That is a whole line item on its own because we have no idea. I mean, because who doesn't buy everything from Amazon?
I do.
I
buy
know, I do
everything.
too. Everything.
Last night, I was in my bed about to go to sleep, and I'm like, oh, I think I need some pots and pans. I don't need pots and pans, Carrie.
I
I
know.
don't need them, and I bought
I
them.
know. And because then they make it so easy.
Why do you think, is it just impulse? Is it impulsivity? Some of us are, I don't know why I do it.
Well, listen, like anything, if you had to get in your car and go to the store and park and walk in, you'd
I would
never
never.
get those pots and pans.
I would never
When
get
it's
them.
just a click away and all your credit card information is stored, and it's like, and it shows up the next day.
The next, it's waiting
I
on
mean,
my
that
front
little
porch.
dopamine in our brain is like ding, 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 ding. Oh, it's like the holidays every day in our
And
house.
I can't take it, and I don't need it. I don't need the vitamins I just got. And they show up, and you know what? You're right. It's great. So, what do you suggest that we do as women, men, all of us? Like, what do we do? I mean,
What I like to do with clients is I really like to force them to be intentional and mindful, because also it's like with a diet. You eat a lot, you're like, did I eat too much, did I not? I had no goal, I have no plan. I'm not sure, am I eating enough, am I eating not enough? So I like to just make a plan. I think families should make a plan. I think husbands and wives and children, and it's always great if you could do it in January or in December. This is our plan for the year. We want to spend, we know what our fixed costs are, we know what our house is. We've decided we're going to send you to private school, or this is what school is. We've decided that summer camp is going to be a priority for us. And when you start to put it in order, our cars, now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, we've done all these things. Maybe we can't eat out so much.
right.
Maybe we can't travel so much, or we're going to allocate X amount for travel. And maybe we're going to take one really expensive trip, or maybe we're going to take 3 moderate trips. You get to decide, but you feel it's intentional, and then you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel like, oh, I wish I could stay at the Four Seasons, but instead I'm staying at the Marriott. You made that choice. It's like, no, I've decided I would rather go away 3 times and have the experience of being in different cities and
Right.
showing this to my family and showing this to my kids. So I think, and then you check in. Okay, it's like a business. Nobody runs a business and doesn't have a plan, right? You don't just open the doors one day without coming up with a business plan, groups getting together. Are we hitting our targets? Are we not? What do we need to tweak? What do we need to change? What was unexpected? So I just don't think enough families, enough couples, even enough individuals, whatever. It's like the one thing everybody needs to do. If you're single, you should have a plan. If you're in a committed relationship with someone, together have a plan. If you have children and family, just have a plan.
I don't think I ever had, you know what? I honestly am thinking back. I don't think I've ever had a plan. And you're right. I need a plan. We all need plans. You're
It's,
absolutely right.
again, like anything, even with parenting, aren't we supposed to have a plan? What's
I
our
have a
goal?
plan. I'm good
Right?
at that.
So we're supposed to have a goal of what
Yes.
our end game is, and then we kind of come back into what are the steps to get to the end game, right?
It's interesting. And I found something on your LinkedIn that you said that I love is that money talk is the new girl talk. And I find it interesting because we never talk about money with our girl. I mean, my girlfriends and I, we
Never.
never, unless we have like a problem, like, or I
So,
got caught with this and
right,
that, no, I bought a pair of shoes and I was in so much trouble because my husband yelled at
right.
me, but then he stopped, the Amazon bill or the
I
American
know.
Express bill comes and you get in trouble for 2 days, but then it's fine. Right. I
Girls
mean,
never talk about that. I have
never.
one friend who is in that world and she's so smart. And I love to pick her brain. We go walking all the time. She's really smart. And so, why wouldn't I take advantage of learning that?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
likes to talk about it. She knows things that I don't know, but women don't. And, there was a study that said men, when they have successful friends, they become more successful because
Oh,
if
interesting.
we were men and I said, "Oh, Jennifer, you know what? I'm putting this fund together. I have this deal. You can come in," you'd be like, wow, that's great. But women, if I said that to you, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, now you just made it uncomfortable. Now you just crossed a line. Why are you asking me for money? Right? You'd feel a little
Uh,
weird. A lot of women feel
yes.
weird
I,
because they
I,
don't understand it. They'll go and spend $10,000 on a bag
boy,
and without a
gosh,
question. But
right.
if I said, I'm putting together this fund, do you want to invest $10,000 in this startup? All of a sudden you may say, I don't know, I have to think about it. Let me ask my husband. I'm not sure. And now I'm uncomfortable. Right?
Yes.
Men don't. Men look at it as this is a great opportunity.
Because they trust, is it a trust thing?
They just, it's for some it's a trust thing, for some it's a confident thing. They just don't see it as a barrier. It's kind of like, wow, we're such good friends. You're letting me in.
I
Whereas for
see.
some reason, women are like, now it's uncomfortable because we're not comfortable talking about
Yeah,
money.
totally. Absolutely. Until it's something that like you have to talk about, right? It's just interesting to me.
Until it's something that you have to talk about. And then,
Oh my
if life circumstances, look, everybody saw circumstances change because of this pandemic,
gosh. Absolutely.
right? And I was so curious in the beginning. I'm like, okay, who's going to be okay and who's going to suffer and who's going to really, and I saw some clients, they really hunkered down. Nobody was traveling, so they weren't spending money there. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a great savings tool.
Right.
For a lot of
Right.
people it
Right. Right.
was, and for other ones it was like they figured out just a new way. I mean, Postmates was there every day and this and that. I mean, all of a sudden everybody was so afraid to leave their house that they didn't realize it cost them 30% more. Oh, I need a COVID test. I can't even go out to get a free COVID test like the rest of the country. I'm having somebody come here every week for $1,000 a week and test my whole
No,
family.
come on. Really? Yeah. So like that was I mean, I didn't leave the house either, but you're right. My DoorDash, he knows me, shows up here,
Right,
my order. It's crazy.
right,
It is
right,
how we just acclimate to what we,
right.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm thinking it's just, it's so funny because everyone's like, she always makes it about her on her podcast. I'm like, but of course I am because I'm sitting here thinking about my checkbook. And when,
Well,
it's just
right.
interesting. It's
Well,
interesting.
because your story is a lot of other people's story.
Absolutely. I feel like you know, being a stay-at-home mom for, forever and then not having any access to anything. And I always asked permission, which I didn't know. I don't know why I asked permission. I
Right.
don't really know why I even did. I just felt like, Mark worked so hard and I saw him working so hard for our family that I felt like if I was going to buy a lamp, I was going to ask. And my friend's like, why are you asking? Just buy the lamp. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like out of respect or I don't know why I did it.
But
And
you
then I
were
real
devaluing your work because you were
exactly.
raising kids,
No
which is
shit.
really hard.
Exactly. And then but I didn't realize that until after I was divorced that you see what I'm saying? That I was being
Yeah.
financially bullied, quote unquote. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad that it's just so, I think everyone can relate to that.
Everybody. And so many women say, he was out working and I was home with the kids. Well, he was out working because you were home with the kids, which was
And
a
he
job.
knows that. And he
If
says
you
that.
weren't home with
Isn't
the
that funny?
kids, he wouldn't be so successful because he would have also had to drive carpool and go to the market and make
Exactly.
dinner and go to the orthodontist
Yep.
and, miss a day of work because they're sick.
And the funny
So
thing is,
it's
he
a
says that
team.
too. He's like, Jennifer, why are you asking me? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't. And does that come from my childhood?
A lot of it comes from our childhood. So when I
Okay.
said that, our archetypes are formed. So I do this, it's really fascinating when I start to work with people because no two stories are alike. And we go back and we start from the earliest money memory they have as a child, whatever it was, and how they grew up, and what their mother was like around money, and what their father was like around money, and what was positive and what was negative, and what they picked up. Some people more are aligned with the mother and some with the father, and, and how, and you could have two different people. My brother and I grew up in the same house with the same parents, 2 years apart, very different.
Absolutely.
I picked up a lot more of my dad's stuff. He picked up a lot more of my mom's stuff. I don't know why. It's just, so it's interesting. So again, when you know where you come from and you know what your triggers are, you're more controlled, right? Going forward, you can't, I'm always baffled when I work with some financial planners and they sit down and they say, okay, Jennifer, I'm going to give you a budget and you can spend X amount on all these categories. And you're like, okay. It's like a diet. If I don't know you're an emotional eater and that it stems from something when you were a kid, you're not going to stick to it. Right?
No, I'm not.
So it's the same thing to say, listen, you're not your mother. And, I've worked with people where their parents put all of their worth on external. If that was a value system that you grew up with as a child, now is the time to break it.
Right.
Right? But you don't even know. You've lived like that for so long. It's like in your subconscious mind. So it's harder to make these small but significant steps to change.
Interesting. And there's 7 archetypes, you said?
There are.
Oh my gosh, I'm so interested in this. I think it's the coolest thing because you're right. And I can remember things in my childhood that definitely were triggers,
Right.
Interesting. And so you said that I'm stalking you, but when you're 7 years old is when you start to really understand what your parents
listen,
are.
Kids that are 7 and 8, you pick up a lot. It's like when parents fight and you say, oh, they don't know, they're so young. They know. They know the energy. Kids know when there's enough money. They know when they hear parents talk at the dinner table that we can't afford to do this and the bills came in and we don't have money to pay and they're stressed, or maybe they see their mother and you think your child's over there playing quietly in the corner, but they're watching and they hear you on the phone talking to somebody. So kids pick up on that and it starts to get formed. And it's kind of like, if you notice, some kids, if you give them a little bit of money, they're going to go to the toy store right away, and other kids are not. They're going to put it in their piggy bank
forever.
Yeah. Right? And so we want to be healthy. We don't want to be so fearful we don't spend any money. And we also don't want to be so frivolous that we don't think of the future and we're just like, I'm just going to live for today. There's like everything, there's a balance.
How do we do that? How do we
understand? So we understand.
Okay.
We look back and then we plan forward. Right?
It seems so easy, but I don't think it is.
Well, it seems so, again, like it's very much, it's like, it is like a diet. It's like a financial diet. We want a healthy relationship with food. We want a healthy relationship with money. And we want to put ourselves first. Everyone always says, oh, I want to save. I want to save. I want to save. Saving is so important. Who doesn't say that? I meet with people. They always say, saving is so important. And I'm such a good person. I'm very philanthropic. I want to give a lot. I want to make the world a better place. I think those are two great causes, right? And nothing's more important than my kids. Nothing is more important. Okay. Then you look, the car is expensive, the clothing is expensive, all this kind of stuff. Charity could be really low, almost, and that's fine. I'm not here to judge anybody.
No.
But then don't say that that's a top priority, right?
Interesting.
And don't say kids need very little. I'll work with people sometimes and they'll say, oh, I need to have a big house or my kids won't come to see me, or some stuff like that. If there's a divorce. I'm like, if you really believe that, something else has gone wrong.
Right.
Kids don't need a lot.
No,
they need love. The stuff that they need, it is true. It doesn't cost that much. And we want to make sure medical. Again, when I sit with clients and they say what's important, I always say, is it medical? Shouldn't medical be there? Who's going to say that medical isn't right? If you don't have that, you don't have anything. Right. So we sort of help people categorize. And all of a sudden, you do see the stuff you thought was so important isn't so important. And, if you talk to older people, like in their 80s and stuff, they never say that stuff was important, right? They've lived a long life.
So interesting. I just think
it's so interesting. But I want women to talk about it more and not feel embarrassed and not feel shamed. That is sort of my mission. And to teach and really empower our girls. The boys, of course, as well. But they seem to get it more than the girls.
Is that just,
It still
strange,
is.
isn't
Okay,
it?
so as much as we say society has changed, it still is a little, it hasn't changed that much, not enough.
Okay.
So when you get married, have a plan. And listen, you should be able to talk about this stuff with your husband. And if you can't, is that not a red flag?
I mean, huge. It's a
Right?
huge red flag. Like, hello, I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, red flag, right? And I'm
Red
not saying on the first date you should ask for their like, credit
Red
score,
flag.
but I mean, you got to talk about it. If co-parenting during a pandemic taught us anything, it's that you need proof your kids are safe. With alcohol abuse on the rise, many co-parents are turning to the no-nonsense system committed to providing proof, protection, and peace of mind. Soberlink's alcohol monitoring system is the most convenient, reliable, and reasonable way for a parent to provide evidence that they are not drinking during parenting time. Soberlink's real-time alerts make it easy to negotiate with any party. Judges rest assured that the child is safe. Attorneys get court-admissible evidence of sobriety, and both parents have empowerment and peace of mind. Do divorce right and trust the experts in remote alcohol monitoring technology to keep your kids safe, happy, and well-adjusted. To download the guide, 5 non-negotiables for embracing a new normal that I developed with Soberlink, visit www.soberlink.com/DRR.
Red flag. I mean, I meet with couples sometimes that are going to get married, and one doesn't want to maybe talk about show their credit cards or doesn't want to expose it. Red flag. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
Because
or they have
again,
student debt
I was talking to somebody who's getting divorced, and she has to take on half of her husband's debt. We're in California. It's a community property state. I also say this too. People get married in their 20s. It's
starter
like the
marriages.
biggest
Starter marriages.
business decision, one of the biggest ones you're going to ever make. And yet we know nothing about the business implications of getting married, right?
I knew nothing.
Most people know nothing. You don't think about it. And, I always say, don't make financial decisions emotionally. People get in trouble when they do that. Marriage is one of those. And I know you don't want to, people are like, oh, I don't even want to think about that stuff. It's not romantic. It's not sexy. Well, it sure isn't romantic and sexy. Again, 50% of the time.
When you have to
just
get a divorce.
Think about it.
You have to. I feel like you have to talk about like prenups and, I mean, you got to do it. You've got to be smart. You've got to be smart.
You've got to be smart. And listen, if you are getting married and you're young and you are a spender or your spouse is a spender, if one of you is a spender and one of you is a saver, let's just say, there's going to be conflict.
Yes.
So get to, it's one of the main reasons that marriages don't work. But if you meet in the middle, it's healthier.
Yeah.
Everybody's voice feels heard. Everybody deserves to say their part, right?
Yeah.
Just because the person working outside of the house, his vote doesn't count anymore. And by the way, they really see it when they get divorced. Because it's like, oh, again, community property state. It's irrelevant that she was out shopping and she was out doing this, and you signed a contract. And that's what the contract says.
I mean, like, I'm in Charlotte, so it's just, but I mean, I raise my kids that's a full-time job. And I'm, I mean.
I actually think a very nice balance is when, if one partner decides to stay at home and raise the kids, that's the partner that also pays all the bills and makes all the deposits.
Interesting.
It's a nice, first of all, a lot of times they have time. They can make the time. It shouldn't take that much time to reconcile. And it just gives a better balance of power. If one is out working and earning the money, and I've noticed that those relationships tend to work a little better.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have any other tips for us? Like that we should know about it? Like best financial advice?
I mean, that's a really good.
I mean, you've been giving us millions. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Listen,
but
I think that's a really good tip.
That is a great tip.
Couples should get together, once a month maybe, and say, like, let's look at our statements. Let's pull our head out of the sand and come from a very loving, non-judgmental place. Maybe have a couple drinks first, I always say, so it's not so serious.
Yeah. Do you think that people don't want to know and that's why they don't talk about it?
Yeah. They don't want to know.
Me. I don't think I really want to know. I was like, you know what? It's fine. We're doing well. And then we weren't. So it's like.
Right. we're doing, you listen, when there's so much money that it's like we can make a lot of mistakes and we're still okay, that's a different scenario, but that's 0.00001% of the world, right? So if you're in that boat, sure. Did you buy a yacht? Did you buy a yacht that you didn't need? No problem.
Call me up. I'm single. Just kidding. Right. I'm not. I have a boyfriend.
Exactly.
I get you. Yeah. It's crazy.
But, on the other stuff, let's do it. And my other thing too that I love to tell and I love to show kids, and if you haven't shown your kids this, you should. So if you go online, I think it's like invest.gov or something like that. There's a free compounding interest calculator.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Okay, so there's this, so it teaches about compounding interest. So they said if you take a penny and you double a penny every day for 30 days. Have you ever heard this?
No, keep going.
Do you know how much you're going to have at the end of 30 days? Take a guess.
Idea. I don't
Take
know.
A guess.
I'm so bad at money. This is my problem. I need you. I don't know. How much would you have?
If you had to guess, so the first day you have 1 penny. The next day you have 2 pennies. The next day you have 4 pennies. The next day you have 8 pennies. Wild guess.
I don't know.
For 30 days.
That's too much for me to do in my head right now. Like $4 grand?
Yeah, right. That's what you say, $4,000. Okay. Yeah. The number, it's like $5.3 million.
Wait, what?
$5,368,000.
No, you're lying. My boyfriend right now is literally, he's laughing so hard. He's like, Jennifer, you don't even know how to get, like, seriously?
So, no, you're lying. By the way, because we said it doubles every day. So that's on day 30.
You mean it. Okay.
I told you, you take a penny and you double it every day.
Do you see why I need you?
No, but it's like, people are like, no, because everybody says what you say, right? Like, listen, on day 17, it's like $655. On day 18, it's $1,300. Then it goes to $2,600. Then it goes to $5,200. Then it goes to $10,000. Then $20,000. Then $40,000. Then $80,000. Right? So listen, nothing compounds 100%. Okay, so that's sort of,
oh my God, my mouth
that's
is
not realistic because nothing is going to compound like that. But it gets people to understand, holy crap, compounding interest is like the greatest wonder of the world.
Oh my God, so why not?
So like when I tell my kids, my son who's 15, right?
Yeah.
If we invest $5,000 a year,
yeah,
it's not that much, $5,000, $6,000 a year, and it compounds, and we assume it compounds at 7 or 8%, right? Historically, I don't think that's so aggressive.
No.
Oh my God, by the time he's 70, which he will be 70 one day.
Yes, he will.
It's like a couple $1 million.
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean,
right?
It's a lot. And again, it's not about being a smart investor. It's about being a disciplined investor. If you're just disciplined and you do it every year, but in order to be disciplined to get the 5,000, maybe that's one trip you don't take. Maybe that's some Postmates that you don't do, right? I mean, God knows we all spend 5,000 easily on Amazon in the blink of an eye.
Right, but you have to do it.
But if the beginning, if it comes off the top, that 5,000 is going away. And, if you start your kids young and say, listen, I'm going to start you young. It's a gift. When you're out of school, you have to continue this gift. When you're done with college and you're working, make it a priority.
It's so smart. And you
know what? $100 a month.
When it's gone, because my financial planner does that for me. He takes it off the top. I don't even know it's gone.
Right. You don't know.
I don't even know it's gone. I'm like, you know what? Who knew?
And if you automate it, I always say, make things easy. Get them automated. First of the month. Why wouldn't you pay yourself first?
Right.
Right.
Well, I don't even know. He does it. He doesn't tell me. He just takes it and I don't even know it's gone.
Right.
Like he literally has to mind with my mind because I can't, if I know, do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm so psycho that I'm so nervous. I'm so scared I'm not going to have money.
I know.
That's clearly from my childhood.
And a lot of women have that.
It's like scarcity factor.
It's a scarcity factor. And less men have that because especially the men that are working.
Yeah.
So women that have stopped working, listen, and it's a reality. Now they're trying to get back into the workforce after 20 years. These guys have been in the workforce.
Right. It's horrifying.
It's something to think about when you decide to raise a family. If now there's a lot of options where you can do stuff online. You can keep a toe in.
Right.
I mean, maybe you can't commit full time, but something to kind of stay in the game.
It's really hard, Carrie, when you go back out. I mean, you don't think you're ever going to get divorced. You go to the couple, you do whatever. And then the next thing you know, and that's where I was. I had to make a career out of my divorce, and thank God I did.
Right.
But I mean, it's been 5 years I've been doing this. It's
No,
hard.
it's I mean, I work with a lot of women going through it, and it can be rough.
Yeah. I'm
And
tired.
you lose so much. It's the confidence that you lose.
Yeah.
Because I
Totally.
always say nobody will work harder than, you know, I mean, women's a lot of times when their kids go to college and they're empty nesters, they're young and they're smart and they're hardworking and they're vibrant, right? And they have a lot of free time now.
Yeah, but now
It's
I'm freaking
great.
out because it's great. Okay, we need to talk. That's my next thing. I'm like, my kid. I'm being empty. I'm going to be an empty nester, not nester. Just me.
Right.
What am I going to do?
You're going to create, look at this whole thing that you're doing,
Yes, I know,
right?
right?
You're going
That's
to
okay.
change the world. You're going to help
Oh,
all these women. You're going to lift them up
I
with
hope
all
I
the
just.
relationships, everything they want to know. You're going to be the go-to
Well,
person.
there we go. I hope that I can get out of bed and stop crying.
You will.
I don't know. I'm going to
You
miss them so
will.
much. I hope
I
so. And
know.
it's preparing them too, right? I hope that they're okay in their financial journey.
Well,
It's
that's
hard,
it. It's
setting
hard.
them up.
I mean, my daughter went to college, same as your son,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
college. And so
Where's she?
she's at Wisconsin.
Oh, I love Wisconsin. It's so hard to get in there right now.
She loves
It's
Wisconsin.
so hard to get
And I sort of said, like, now is the time, for you to have a budget. Because, like, I'm going to give you X amount a month. You do, if you want to go and eat, pizza every night, great. You want to go shopping, great. You want to drink, great. But that's it. You have to
in. Yeah,
make some choices,
yeah. It's all about
and
choices.
it's all about choices. And I don't want to give her so much that she doesn't have to make any. And I don't want to give her not enough that she can't do anything.
Right.
So, we came up with an amount that I want them to stay grateful. I want them to stay humble. And also, I feel like, I mean, the girls maybe are worse than the boys because the girls are like, I have to get my nails done. I have to get my hair done. All of these expensive habits. And I said, when you have your first job out of college, you're probably not going to make that much. And if you want to keep saving, the hair and the nails, you may need to do it yourself.
Oh,
Right?
I,
The pandemic, my daughter became
could you?
very good at doing her
Did
own
she?
nails.
I'm so proud of her because I mean, I never got my nails done. We didn't. I mean, until my
No, we
wedding.
didn't
Until
have
my
that.
wedding, I didn't even know.
Yes.
I was like in my highlights in my hair until I was. I think I don't even know 25. We didn't do that, but I
We
can
didn't have the
remember
dry
like
bar.
budgeting for me was on a legal pad, and I
Yeah.
would write all the numbers down and I would crunch them all. And I had I mean, before I got married, I made more money than my ex. I
Right.
was a DJ and I
Yeah.
worked on the
Oh
weekends
my
as
God, I
a
love that
bar
you were a
bat mitzvah
DJ. I love
DJ.
that you were a
And
DJ.
I was a DJ and I would just spread it and I would like to the penny. I'd be like, I have 32 cents left in my bank account. I'm like,
Right.
that's how I lived.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I just thought I was really proud of myself. I thought I could, I did it all. And
It's
then,
really great, to teach them. And I mean, my daughter was driving one day and she got pulled over, and I'm like, she got out of it. But like the point, I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, sometimes you get
she
a
got it.
parking ticket. That sucks. Nobody likes to spend that $65. I would have much rather gone out to a meal, but
Yep.
that's life.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get a flat tire? Oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Because that's,
You know?
well, that's another thing you have to budget for is stuff like that. You never know. Like my toilet breaks there, or my roof caves in. Oh, God. I mean, you never know.
Nobody ever budgets for that, and nobody wants to spend money on that stuff.
I don't. I really don't.
Right?
Like,
Oh,
like
did they
the
vandalize
squirrels.
my car and stuff like that? And that was $1,000. You're like, that
Oh,
sucks.
yeah. Or the squirrels in my roof. And the guy's like,
Right.
oh, it's going to be $1,000. I'm like, leave them there. They're fine. Let
Right.
those little squirrels just live right there. I'm
That's
fine
right.
with that.
Oh, the
so
tree
fun.
trimming. You're like, what? I'll cut them myself.
I call my boyfriend.
Hoist me up the palm tree that's 40 feet high. I can do it. I can save the money.
You get your machete. I know. I call my boyfriend. I'm like, can you do my lawn for me? Because I'm done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then you decide. I mean, I'm telling you, my daughter became very good at doing her nails during COVID.
Can she do mine?
I know.
I
And
love
she
it.
used to do my hair. And then I got the Dyson Airwrap, which was the greatest thing ever.
Me too.
It's the best. So now
I
I don't have
love
to
it.
go, get my hair done.
It's perfect. And it's an investment. And then you have it. It's best.
Everybody has to pick what gives them the most pleasure.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
And
Especially
if it's eating
now.
out, enjoy it. And if it's traveling, enjoy it. I see the problem where people get is everything is inflated. So like the car's a little more expensive than it should be. Not crazy, but a little
Okay.
more. And the eating out is a little more than it should be. And the travel,
I see. So
it's
it all
not
adds
like,
up.
oh, if you sell the plane, you're fine. It's not like it's one item. It's a lot of
Yeah.
little things that became the car payment instead of being $500 is $900. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. You could save there. Like there's places you could save that would add up.
Right. The people that are only shopping at, like the really expensive markets, I won't say any, it's not like I'm dissing the markets. It's like,
right. I get it.
If you go to Trader Joe's right off the bat, you've just saved 20%.
Yeah. Right.
There's little things that just to be, again, maybe it's 8 blocks farther, maybe it's a little farther. If I said, listen, I'm going to pay you $100 to go to the market down the street, you may be like, oh, I'll go. That was easy money.
Yeah. Right.
That's what it is. Pay yourself.
Yeah. It's convenience. A lot of it's convenience. It's easier just to do.
Everyone always says that it's convenient. Okay, fine. There's a price to convenience, is what I say.
I agree.
There, DoorDash and Postmates, my kids know it's a waste. I think.
I'm going to tell you, it is such a waste, and the food is never good. It's always cold. Sorry, guys, but I do it every day. Do you want to know why? Because I know I have to stop. It's a convenience for me. I'm just like, you know what? It comes from my front door. I'm sitting there. I don't have to leave my house.
Right.
I need to stop.
Yeah. I mean, I have pointed out to my son, I'm like, that Chipotle burrito somehow now became $18 because you had it DoorDashed or whatever.
It was $20 yesterday for lunch. I'm like,
who would pay $18 for a Chipotle burrito?
Me.
I know.
You tell your son that.
By the way, a lot of people.
I know. I'm crazy. I need to stop.
I know, I'm
with you. Oh my gosh. Carrie, I love you. I think you're amazing.
I don't like that I need to. I don't like to need people, and I don't like to should people.
I know, but I do need to, and I should. I think you're so amazing. I honestly feel better just talking to you. I'm like,
oh, you're so sweet.
I do. I think you're fantastic. Where can people find you? Your website.
My website.
That's the best.
CarrieCasden.com.
Easy peasy.
There's a lot of info on
yes,
there.
There is.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the show notes also. CarrieCasden.com. Anything special going on that you need to share with my listeners for you, or just your awesomeness, and that's it?
I mean, that's it.
Okay,
that's awesome. It's nice to be back out. It's nice to not have a mask on. It's right.
It is so nice. I'm
starting to feel back to normal, which is great.
It is great. Okay, so everybody get out there, do something fun today,
make a plan.
Make a plan.
If you do one thing, make a plan. It's the end of the first quarter. We're only in March. Make a plan for the rest of the year. It's like anything. If you didn't start saving and doing stuff yesterday, today is the best day to do it.
That's right. Just start today.
Don't look back. Just start today.
That's hard for me not to look back because I feel like
don't look back.
Just start right now.
Beat yourself up. Women are really good at beating themselves up.
I am.
Enough. I know. We don't need anyone else to beat us up. We do it so well by ourselves.
Right. And I'm a coach and I help other people not beat themselves up, and then I do it to myself.
Yeah. Now let it go.
Okay.
When you know better, you do better. Now you know better. Do better.
Yes. And girls, start talking about money with each other. I love that.
Right. Pick each other's brain. If somebody's good at it, ask them for their advice. Awesome. Yeah. Isn't it funny? We ask who colors your hair? Where do you get all these other very personal questions? We ask that.
And I've never spoken to any of my friends about and never.
I know.
Interesting, Carrie. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here.
You're so welcome. It was great.
Thanks it's so easy. Me. It's fun. I was like, come back anytime, please. Please.
All right. Well,
okay, cool.
You want me to. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, everybody. So that was that. And I'll tell you, so we're going to make a plan. We're going to talk to our girlfriends about money, and we're going to get outside and do something fun this weekend. I say that every podcast because I don't even know what to say, but that's okay. Who cares? And if you want to find me, jenniferherbst.com, you know the thing. And I don't know. That's it. Everyone have a fabulous week. Peace, love, and so much truth. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.